Hey, it's Brendan from WP Speedfix. In this video, I want to talk about Google Ads and landing page experience and site speed. So if you have a below average landing page experience in Google Ads, site speed may be the issue. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. You'll see something like this. I've just grabbed a random screenshot off the web. There's actually tons of people talking about this, that they have a fast website, but their landing page experience is poor, something is wrong. There's tons of those in the Google forum. So basically it looks something like this. This is a bit of an older screenshot, but in Google Ads, you'll see this landing page experience column just as bad across the board. We also see problems with sites, or we have businesses come to us with sites that have very poor time to first byte, but all the speed tests they run look great. That doesn't look like there's a time to first byte issue. So that may be something similar. If they're running a lot of ads, that may also be related to this. So let's dig into it. So let's talk about this. So speed is also a Google Ads factor as well. It's not just an SEO factor. So it's important for both. Google likes fast websites. And the landing page experience in Google Ads takes speed into account. So even though you might have a lightning fast website, when you run it in GTmetrix or PageSpeed Insights or whatever, you may still have a poor landing page experience because of the site speed. Now, the reason for this, or the root cause, is because you are using some sort of custom tracking strings related to ad tracking or click fraud or third-party tools that are non-standard. They're not UTM strings, they're something else, and those are bypassing all the caching and speed optimization on the site. So essentially, probably your most expensive traffic, your paid traffic, is going to be the slowest on the site. And this is a very common problem. So even if you're using popular click fraud tools like ClickSees, for example, or call tracking like CallRail, you're probably going to have this issue because they use tracking strings as part of their tracking or setup mechanism. They use custom tracking strings that are not kind of industry standard. Well, they're standard for those tools, but they're not universal strings like UTM strings or Facebook click IDs. So there's a couple of different ways we can approach this. So one simple way is run a Core Web Vitals report at our website. It's completely free, takes 60 seconds. Here's the link. There's the page there. So just enter the web address and you will get that report, and it looks something like this. So I just blank this out. This is a customer I'm actually talking to at the moment that prompted this video. And the site looks fast in speed test. It's fast to use, but the time to first byte looks horrible. So if you're on the report, the main page is Core Web Vitals, and then you'll see all this historical data on the left. And typically we want to see this kind of around the other way. So we'd want to see green at 60 to 70%, then some orange, and then a little sliver of red. So when we see something like this, we know that the page caching is either not working or being bypassed, or something is wrong. Actually, it's someone I was talking to yesterday about this as well. Same problem. So really simple troubleshooting first step is just run that report and see what it says. So if you've got a lot of red like this, then it's a site speed issue. It's a time to first byte issue, which is related to caching. Where did my window go? There it is. 1 second. I lost my window there. He's hiding. Okay, so that's one place you could start. Let me just show you how this kind of manifests in practical reality. So this is our this is Vital Signs Tracker. So this is a custom tool we built to track site speed. So we have a problem with site speed in that Google's data is not very granular. It's based on a 28-day average. And it doesn't give us page by page level insights. It gives us broad insights, but they're not really useful to pinpoint problems or troubleshoot or build action items off. So we built this tool. You can go to our website or go to vitalsignstracker.com, and we'll redirect you here, and you can see a walkthrough of the tool. And you can actually, we now have it available for purchase separately. But regardless, I'm just looking at this site here. So this is a big site in Australia. It has a lot of paid traffic. Typically, our report looks like this. So I've just run a report for the last 28 days, and you kind of get the overall metrics for the site that look really good. We're all in the green here. So LCP, the passing grade is 2.5 seconds, or this is in milliseconds, so 2,500 milliseconds. So the technical goal is 75% or more traffic under 2.5 seconds. So 75% of our traffic is at 1 second. So super fast site. You'll see here that other metrics are looking good. If we scroll down, we'll start to get into some issues here. So all looking good here. We have the country by country breakdown, and then we have the page by page breakdown. So page by page looks really good. Like if I'm looking at that, there's no issue. But There's different ways to slice and dice these reports, and you can actually segment paid traffic separately. But a quick way to do that is just look for query strings. So if I just add a question mark, which is a start of a query string, here we have some of our Google Ads traffic. So, okay, we're looking okay here, but if I scroll down, G-Ad Source 2, G-Ad Source 3 and 5, I think, are problematic. Let me just see. There we go. So G-Ad Source, we actually fixed this for this customer. G-Ad Source 1 traffic was really slow, and it's been fixed, but they've been doing new campaigns. So we have G-Ad Source 2. Look at the time to first byte. It's sky high. So that's 3.5 seconds. This one's nearly pushing 4 seconds. Remember, this is a millisecond. So this is mobile and desktop traffic. So 3.8 seconds. Here's another one. This is just the home page. 3.2 seconds, 3 seconds. So that's the home page, but paid traffic. If we just go back here and look at the home page here, the normal home page is nice and fast. So time to first byte's a touch high here, which we'd expect, but 683 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds. So really green across the board, but as soon as we're looking at paid traffic, then it's horrible. Like, that's terrible. 4.2 seconds for the LCP. You can see there, pretty much the same across the board. So we've fixed the problem with the G-Ad Source 1 string, but now they've got this new campaign going on a different medium, and we haven't set up exclusions for this string, and now the traffic is slow. So these kind of problems hide under the bonnet. If I ran a page speed insights test on the site, it would look fast. That would not show any time to first byte issue, but this particular traffic source is showing that issue. So this is a problem we see again and again, especially with e-commerce sites, Google Shopping in particular. And it may not even be paid traffic from Google Shopping. It could be the free organic Google Shopping traffic, and your feed tools adding a tracking string on there for some reason. So that's basically the troubleshooting, I guess the diagnosis step of the troubleshooting to see if it is a time to first byte issue. So the first one is run that Core Web Vitals report. And then if you have a bigger site, you could use, if you wanted to, you could use our Vital Signs Tracker tool. It is available as a standalone purchase, and the pricing starts at $29 a month, you see there. So you can run it for a month and see what the story is. And as you can imagine, depending what the industry is, the cost per click could be $20 or $30. So with really slow time to first byte like that, when someone's sitting there for 3 or 4 seconds waiting for the server to just even respond, not even load the page, they're going to lose patience and click away. There's going to be a certain portion of people who are just burning that ad budget. So that's that. So that's the kind of diagnosis. And let's talk about the fix. So the fix is determine what query strings you're sending with your ads traffic. There's a couple of ways to do this. One, depending on how you've set up your Google Ads, the tracking strings may be on the individual ads, or you may have a tracking template. So a quick and easy one is just to look at the tracking template inside Google Ads and look at the strings in there. And that'll be the first place we start. And then you want to set up your page caching to ignore them. So it's really important that you ignore those strings and not cache them. So when we're talking about query strings, we have two options. We can cache query strings, or we can just ignore them. We want to ignore them. And the reason for that is that the query strings are going to be very unique a lot of the time. So different ad creative, different sources. You saw there, G-Ad Source 1, G-Ad Source 2. Those are different areas that Google Ads are showing. So different traffic or different clicks will have a different set of query strings. And even the values of those query strings are going to be different. So if we cache those URLs, each individual user is going to have a different value, even the different keywords, different ads, different campaigns, blah, blah, blah. So caching it's not going to work. And also their first visit won't be cached. So there's a couple of issues there. So the caching doesn't work because they're unique URLs. And then the first visit, which is likely the only visit they're going to make if it's slow, is not going to be cached. So we want to ignore instead. And what will happen is that the hosting on the site will just serve up the regular cached page and won't worry about the query strings. There is another issue. If you're using Cloudflare edge caching, that's also a problem too. I actually write a note here. Cloudflare APO or edge caching. You need to use transform rules. Transform rules. I won't go into it in too much detail because it can get messy. But even if you ignore the query strings on the hosting, say you're using a WordPress site, if you ignore them in something like WP Rocket, and there is I'll link you up here. Here's the WP Rocket page about query strings. And there is an extra plugin you can add, or an add-on plugin for WP Rocket, where you can set up those query strings to be ignored. That'll work on the hosting level, but it won't work on Cloudflare. So Cloudflare will still ignore those query strings, or it will bypass Cloudflare with those query strings. So the fix for that is transform rules. So that can get really messy if you have a lot of query strings. Say if you're using something like ClickCease for click fraud, or CallRail, you might end up having 5 to 10 different query strings added onto the URL. So that's a lot of permutations of those query strings. The way the transform rule works, it needs to cover all permutations of those query strings. So maybe we'll do a separate video of it. It just gets really technical, but we actually just use, the easiest way is to use ChatGPT or AI to give you the rule set and then import that into Cloudflare. But I won't get into it here. It's just too technical. But that's how you fix the issue on Cloudflare. So Cloudflare, if you have Cloudflare APO or Cloudflare Edge caching, if you're with some host that has enterprise Cloudflare, then the solution is transform rules. If you're on one of those hosts actually that have the direct integration, you won't be able to do it. So typically we'd always recommend running your own Cloudflare account anyway, instead of using a hosting provider's integration. And the main reason for that is control. So you don't get access to all the firewall stuff and things like the transform rules if you're using the direct integration. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, our Vital Signs Tracker tool is a really good way to measure this stuff, because as soon as you make a change, you'll be able to see within a day or so, as long as you have enough traffic, whether that's fixed the problem. And like I said, in here you can slice and dice the segments. We have a couple of custom segments built in already. For example, logged in traffic and logged out traffic. We actually have, I think this might be one that's set up for this client. So if we just do... Let's see if we can just see paid traffic by itself, this camp. It might be a little slow here. It's a big site. But what we can do here, so we can also schedule reports. So it also has email reporting built in, and you can see the trend. You saw the report there, the trend over time as well. I'll just give this a second. I'll just pause this and just let it load up. Sorry, yeah, that segment didn't work, so I just reran the report here. But once you've set up the fix, you can see the trend line here. So you can set up a custom segment for just paid traffic and see what's happening here, and see the trend line over time. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, post in the comments below. I'll post these notes in the video description. If you want help with site speed, head over to our website. On our homepage, you can request a free audit. If you need help, if you want paid help, you could submit an audit request there, and we'll have a look at your site and generally get back to you within 1 business day. There's also some free tools here. So free SEO audit, free Core Vitals report I showed you, and free site speed test. All of those are free, no opt-in required, take 60 to 90 seconds, so you can use those as many times as you like. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you have any questions, post in the comments, and happy to come back to you. Cheers.